right, and we are go. Welcome, everybody, to Real Talk number 12 as part of the Tragedy of the Cinema podcast and the Evil Never Dies podcast collaboration continues all forward. Best thing in the world going on here. I am your host, Kyle Zahner, and with me today, I am joined by Brett, and we'll do the whole rotation right there. So, Brett, introduce yourself real quick, and then we'll go through the process of the list that I established a minute ago.
I'm Brett with the Evil Never Dies podcast.
Jeremy, it's on you.
Jeremiah, you're number 2.
I'm Jeremiah. First time on here.
Welcome.
Thank you.
I'm Carl Todd with the Evil Never Dies podcast.
Then we go to Tanya.
I'm Tanya, first time.
And I'm Jimbo, usually the normal moderator of these, but I changed things up and decided to give my co-host Kyle from the Tragedy of Cinema podcast a shot at this. We'll see how epic he fails or succeeds tonight.
Patrick, good to you.
Oh, hey, I'm Patrick.
He watches a few movies.
He's been known to watch movies for 2 in his day.
I'm Tiffany. I just like hanging out with the rest of you guys. So, hello.
Fantastic. So we got the gang all here, some new, some returning. Might have Christine on later tonight. We'll see how she goes. She's coming home right now. Didn't know we were doing a live show. We got to give her better notice next time, so we'll see how it goes. But moving forward here, we got to do a kind of a question and answer period where I ask one overall question, then we have everyone else answer in the process the best way they possibly can. So going here with a little more timely in the news area, Barbie just released last week at huge success levels. And it's looking at a blockbuster success, which is pretty insane if you ask me. I wouldn't expect this movie to be that big. I'm really happy for it. That's good news. I'm going to see it later tomorrow, actually. But after this news, Mattel, the rights owner, announced they're essentially going to try and do their own little MCU of causing a huge franchises of all their intellectual properties for toys. And I'm going to go through the list here right now. And after I go through the list, you tell me which property you probably would most like to see as a movie property going forward, and if you think they'll succeed in making, if anyone can succeed in making a kind of new giant cinematic dynasty or universe, something like that here. So starting with the list of Mattel's properties, these are 14 properties that are already in active development, including Barney, the purple dinosaur, I believe, Polly Pocket, which I know absolutely nothing about, Hot Wheels, which personally probably got me pretty excited, Magic 8 Ball. I don't know how that's a movie property. So it's Uno, yeah. Which for the Spanish audience is definitely be great. I can't wait to get the sequel to Uno series. Uno 2, Uno 3.
It's called Those.
Exactly. Yeah.
Be reverse. Draw 4.
Yeah. Rock'em Sock'em Robots would be the next property they're going forward there too. They tried that Regal Steel a few years ago. I like the movie a lot. Maybe they tried the same thing again, but they get Rock'em Sock'em Robots officially this time. Christmas Balloon, which is, I didn't know that's a property. It seems like a concept. Thomas and Friends. I don't know if that's actually the Thomas the Train Engine, I think, possibly. I don't know if that's what they own or not. Yeah. American Girl. Viewmaster. Matchbox. I believe that's like another Hot Wheels offshoot, actually. Matchbox car sets, if I remember that correctly. Wishbone. Major Matt Mason. Don't know anything about that. And He-Man Masters of the Universe. So I'm sure we can get some clear wins in that list. But starting with Brett, which of any of those properties would you like to see made into a movie? And do you think Mattel will succeed in making these movies something worth seeing?
I would have to say the Hot Wheels.
Hot Wheels.
There's a show on NBC, I think, where they're making these Hot Wheels cars out of old junk cars. It's pretty good. So
Brett, we have that already. It's called Fast and the Furious.
That's fair. That's fair.
We're gonna have to figure out a good spin.
Which are all junk.
Yeah. Okay, Jeremiah. Oh, actually, Brett, do you think they actually can do it though? Do you think they can make a new cinematic universe?
Oh yeah, they could make a good Hot Wheels movie, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Are you talking live action or cartoon or?
I think the idea that all these projects are going to probably be like big budget live action movies. I think they want to be serious movies going forward.
Yeah, I think they could pull it off for sure.
I'd be curious to see it as well. And maybe it will be Vin Diesel starring there. Oh, look at that. We got Christine in the house. We're joining you.
There she is.
Hi.
Hello, Christine. can you hear us
Hello.
Okay.
I'm here.
Fantastic.
You guys hear me?
We can
Yep.
hear
Yes,
you.
we
That's
can.
fine.
Okay, awesome.
Tiffakins is not last anymore now.
Exactly.
Yay.
So
Yeah.
you will be following Tiffany, Christine. And
I'm
we
following Tiffany. Okay.
Yep, and we just started, and Kyle just asked this question. Kyle, you want to repeat the question real quick?
Sure, I'll repeat the question for you. And the overall question is: with Barbie's success, Mattel announced that they're developing projects based on all their intellectual properties to make big budget live action movies again. And I'm going to go through the list here, and you tell me which one you'd be most excited to see a new big budget based off of, and if you think Mattel will succeed in making that movie. So I'm going to give you a list of those properties here right now. The first on the list is Barney, the purple dinosaur. Polly Pocket, I know nothing about. Hot Wheels, which was Brett's answer for his professional choice. Magic 8 Ball. Uno, the card game. Rock'em Sock'em Robots. Christmas Balloon. Thomas and Friends, I believe that's a Tank Engine series.
Mhm.
American Girl. Viewmaster. Matchbox. Wishbone. Major Matt Mason. And Masters of the Universe. So mull your mind over, get that kind of question going, and then after Tiffany, you give your answer, and we'll go back to me, and we'll then read the next question. Okay?
Okay.
Sounds good. All right. So after Brett finishes answer there, the Hot Wheels, Jeremiah, what's your thoughts on it?
Definitely He-Man. And dear God, nothing like the Dolph Lundgren one back in the 80s. I think that one, they didn't even call it He-Man. It was just simply Masters of the Universe. And that was an abomination. If anything, I think that they should have Dolph Lundgren in there as a cameo, just kind of a inside joke chuckle for those who have been around long enough.
I think that would be funny.
I can really see that one taking off because of just how many different characters, bad guys, characters. I mean, and you even have that spin-off of She-Ra that could possibly be a property that they could take and bring those together. So I really hope that they do that one well. I know Kevin Smith did a rework of the animation, and he has, I think, 2 seasons of that up on Netflix. And I like that, but I would really like to see them do it justice on a live action.
Yeah, I'm curious if Kevin Smith will be involved in that live action kind of project.
I think it would be awesome if he did, because I really love Kevin Smith. So
you think they can do it right, though? They can probably do it justice?
After seeing what he did with it on Netflix, I think that he should be brought on board to help put that one into fruition as a live action. Yes.
Hey,
Awesome.
Jeremiah, is that the one where the first season wasn't He-Man? It was all about Tila, where she became He-Man, basically.
Oh, no. It's He-Man.
Oh, okay.
You watch that one where He-Man lost his power or whatever, and she took over. Hey, Laura, can you hear us?
She was missing for a few minutes, I believe. Oh, we got Laura joining in here. I don't see her on video yet, though. I don't know if she can hear us.
Oh, she's connecting
right now.
audio. So that might be Dave, her husband, the one that was trying to join. We'll see.
We'll see. We'll give her a few moments to join. And but first, how about we just pass it now to Carl? We'll let Carl answer, and then we'll go mention Laura if she's able to successfully join here, or Dave, the husband, or whoever actually is joining. Yeah. So Carl, go ahead.
Well, I think what they just said, for me at least, the Hot Wheels or the He-Man would be the way to go. With Hot Wheels, I guess they could go in many different directions. I don't really know that it would be a retread of the Fast and the Furious.
Mm-hmm.
The He-Man thing, they have done a lot. You know, they had the cartoon in the 80s. They had the Dolph Lundgren movie and the stuff on Netflix. And honestly, I don't know that it would succeed, much like the G.I. Joe movies have not worked. So far as Polly Pocket and whoever that is, I don't know who they are. Me no savvy.
Yeah.
Maybe they would have more success with that. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Okay, awesome. Well, thank you for your feedback on there. Let's pass it off to Tanya. See what Tanya thinks. You have any particular property you like there, or you don't care at all?
He-Man.
He-Man, definitely.
I grew up with He-Man and She-Ra. She-Ra was my first crush. So I feel like they've done so much with superheroes, whether it be from cartoons, Batman turned into something absolutely huge. I don't know if they could pull it off, but I'm in for it. I would love to see it.
I see what you're putting there. Yeah, I think it's a tricky brand to get right, He-Man, because it's something it's so high fantasy, but sometimes it's wants to play directly to children in a way that like needs to be simplified, and it's hard to meet that middle ground just right where it's entertaining for all audiences, I think, and like you can really kind of it's an easy it's an easy thread to cross and just mess up on one side or the other, where it's like it's either too up its own butt with fantasy or it's way too dumbified for a simple audience, and like it's all about hitting that thread just right where it feels entertaining. Yeah, but I appreciate that, Tony. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Okay, Jimbo, let's move on to you. And
I've got a lot to say. Number one, the Masters of the Universe movie could have been so much better in the 80s if they would have had Orko instead of that stupid troll. And could have named them Beastman and Merman, and not have these other idiots running around. I still like the movie because Frank Langella as Skeletor was fantastic and Dolph Lundgren as He-Man. I think the easiest choice would be Masters of the Universe, but I wouldn't want to see it as a movie. I'd rather see it either as a Amazon Prime series like they did with the new Lord of the Rings, or maybe a Netflix series, but I want it to be live action. I don't want the Kevin Smith cartoons. I want it to be live action.
My buddies.
I'm not taking the easy way out. So I picture, if you will, if you would not be sold on this trailer. Brett Stepanoff stumbles from his drunken stupor. He heads down the hallway. He sees a ladder. He pulls the ladder down. He climbs up to the attic. He hears a noise. He goes over to this big old chest. He opens the chest and he sees something down there glowing. What does he do? He bends over, he picks it up, and he looks into the Viewmaster. And one click of the button, he is transformed to the image that was in the Viewmaster. And the episode is Brett trying to get back to his home world for the entire episode. And then every time he clicks it, it goes to the next episode. He could go somewhere else. You know what I mean? If you had those things as a kid, you may be riding a horse in a cowboy scene one, then you would be at a Christmas tree farm in the next one. But I think that would be a very interesting movie if they could get it to go. But I wasn't going to take the easy way because obviously Masters of the Universe is the answer, probably the only answer.
For you, yeah.
That kind of reminds me of like a Jumanji meets Twilight Zone, kind of like, where you're entering into the world of that particular little square that you know what I mean?
Or, Mattel could even say, hey, they could just call it Mattel Creations, and each episode of a Netflix series could tackle Hot Wheels, Viewmaster, all their different creations, and even some new properties that they introduced to this. It could be huge.
Yeah. I think it's something like it's kind of a benefit that some of these properties are so largely devoid of any real kind of like lore or things that set up to them, like the simple concept of just like the Viewmaster is a toy, but using it as almost like a transportation device to alternate worlds, like you did the Viewmaster right there. There's a lot of moments where like you can put anything you want onto this core concept of the Viewmaster or a Magic 8 Ball or something like that too, of crafting your own story. So that's also an extra opportunity for creative. So I'm curious to see movies like that going forward as well. Okay, well then, thank you, Jimbo, for your take on there. Patrick, we're ready to move on to you. If you like, I can go through the list again if you forgot any of the mentions, or if you have an answer already planned, we'll go for it.
No, you know what? I would go see a Masters of the Universe done right movie. I would say Rock'em Sock'em Robots, but Real Steel was really good.
I enjoyed it.
You know what? So I don't think they need to go there, but I don't know. You know what? I didn't know what to expect going to see Barbie. So if you go in there with no expectations, any of those could do well.
I understand what you mean.
So Patrick, you're Knuff. People that have seen the movie will understand that.
I think I know the concept of the movie so far. Yeah. Okay. Well, Patrick, thank you again for that take right there. We're ready to move on to Tiffany here. Tiffany, what's your take on this whole thing? Or I can go through the list.
I think He-Man would probably be the most successful, but I want to see a Magic 8 Ball movie. I want to see what they could do with that. Kind of like what James was saying. There's a lot of free room that they could play with as far as like the fantasy aspect of it.
Mhm.
And I think it'd be really, really cool.
I think if they did anything in Magic 8 Ball, I think I would go, like, if I were doing it, I think you'd go something spooky, something like a spirit possession.
Haunted Mansion
Yeah,
kind of.
yeah.
Yeah,
reality,
yeah.
something like that.
Kind of like a darker set theme to it, but I thought it would be really, it looks kind of fun.
Something kids spooky, like Haunted Mansion, maybe something like that.
Goosebumps, yeah, that kind of thing.
Or has anyone
Goosebumps.
remembered a show, and I think it was late 80s, where it was called Friday the 13th, and it was
Yes.
about relics.
Yep.
Yes. Okay. So, why not Magic 8 Ball being like this demonic relic that has some sort of demonic, infused abilities to it, similar to that Friday the 13th show, which I loved, by the way. So, and I'm thinking that it could go somewhere in that direction, maybe.
Yeah.
So, okay. Yeah. So I think there's a lot of opportunity there. Thank you, Tiffany, for sharing that. Moving on, we can go to Christine here, see how you're doing, and what do you think?
Well, looking at it from a kid's perspective, I think Thomas the Tank Engine would do really, really well, because when my son was young, he was hugely into Thomas the Tank Engine. So I think that would do really good for a younger audience.
That's some really good stuff there too. I was also a big fan growing up of Thomas Tank Engine. I'm just like, granted, they have the Cars movies come out and those Planes movies came out, those kind of Pixar adjacent stuff. So I'm curious just how, like, if you have a live action movie where Thomas the Tank Engine, I'm curious how you design that and not have the tank look the train look absolutely terrifying.
It would be a horror movie.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that I don't know, but
a real train with a real human face on it does sound horrifying in life, but still,
I'm
I
sure
want to
there's
see
a
that
way
too.
to make it kid friendly.
Yeah.
But
So maybe-
I think that could be huge for kids, and I'm sure there's a way to make it, friendly for the kids. But yeah, I think that would do really well.
All right, Christine, Brett, and Carl, you guys are older ones in here. Did you guys watch the Banana Splits horror movie they
Yes,
I did.
No,
I
did
loved it.
not.
Carl, did you watch it?
I have
watched
not yet.
it.
I bought it, but of course I haven't watched it.
I thought it was bad. I didn't like it. It was
Not as bad as the Winnie the Pooh movie.
I haven't seen that yet.
I didn't even give that.
I
no.
haven't seen it.
Don't
No.
waste
No.
It was awful.
don't waste your time.
No, it looked terrible. I was.
It's supposed to be awful.
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
fun.
it did its job.
Like, so that excuses for being awful. It's like,
There's a difference between being awful and being awful.
yeah, no, I understand. Yeah. Looking at the list here, it seems I don't know if Laura successfully joined or not. She got the muted icon in her skin there, so I don't know if she even is part of the group. So unfortunately, I'm going to skip over and hopefully not leaving her out or making her feel like she's not included.
Are you there, Laura?
Oh, wait, there's a black screen there.
There's a black screen and it has a little red the muted icon on her screen there. So I guess like she didn't never successfully join. She might be able to hear us still, for all I know. And it might not
I've
be
seen
Laura.
this movie before. I think it was called Unfriended.
Beginning of great things. Very
I
excited.
remember watching that. That was a pandemic movie.
Yeah. And there was, oh my gosh, where was that Searching or whatever that one Kevin?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Searching.
it sounds like that too. Pretty good stuff. Pretty good stuff. Okay, well, yeah, man, I love everyone's take there. I think I definitely understand the sentiment of like I think Masters of the Universe is probably the most prime property to be adapted to a live action film, where everyone can kind of see like how that could work as a big budget movie. I think personally, from what everyone, I can hear you, but here for support tonight. Okay, so she can hear us,
Okay.
but
That's nice.
but she can't speak.
I can't tell if it's
Text.
Laura or Dave, but hopefully it's both of them. I don't know.
Well, Laura or Dave?
Laura is Dave.
David.
Okay, it's Dave. Dave's been on
Okay.
here before, so
From this point forward, I'll refer to you as David then.
Dave, you can type your answer if you want.
Yeah, Dave. Yeah, if you can type your answer, and we'll go for that, and I'll acknowledge it here on the stream. Yep. But I'm gonna go ahead with my answer here too, though. I think I'm rooting for Rock'em Sock'em Robots to be a big budget film. I think that'd be great. I used to love. They they had a PlayStation 1 video game that I've just game obsessed with about dismantling robots and taking their parts and putting them on yourself and becoming a better robot that could fight in the arenas, and the idea of kind of a absolution there, and like getting out, like it's Gladiator but with robots, and that's just an easy way to my heart. And I think you could definitely do a big dumb movie with that concept alone. I'd also be very curious to see maybe not PG-13, but in like a strong PG way of trying to maybe take Barney some degree more seriously and not just make it exclusively for little kids. I think they could possibly make a movie like that. Something on the like the Pixar level of quality I would love to see.
Lyle Lyle Crocodile was really cute. Maybe if they did it that way.
Yeah, something like that I think
was
would
a
be
cool movie.
fantastic. Yeah, or even like Paddington, the idea of doing Barney the dinosaur like Paddington. I think like if they went there, I would really love to see it. But in all honesty, though, I don't think they'd succeed. I think it'd be like the Clifford movie that no one saw.
Kyle, for those of us that are parents and had children during that time frame,
We don't want Barney.
I never want to see that purple dinosaur ever again in any capacity.
Oh, okay.
Just saying. That's my take. Brett,
That's
agree?
fair. I didn't realize
Somebody
that.
else agree?
How many other
Never.
people played Doom and had the Barney plug-in?
Barney God on
If
Doom.
you know, you know.
Go the horror movie route with it.
Barney dot
Now
Wad.
that I might take a gander at.
The horror Barney movie. Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess, yeah. Exactly.
Oh, poor
I'd watch
Barney. No love.
It feels weird. Like, I wonder if they would do a Hot Wheels movie, they might do actually like a Hot Wheels X Matchbox to have like a Hot Wheels versus Matchbox, and then
Yeah,
make
that could
car
work.
brands that go against each other. Yeah.
That
Like
might
trying to
be
do Ford
cool.
versus Ferrari, but make it Matchbox versus Hot Wheels. I think it'd be really cool. So maybe that could be
horror Barney. You know, you get it to a point where he snaps. You know,
Mhm.
from all the crap that he's taken from parents who got tired of hearing his crap.
Baby Bebop, I don't care about your stupid yellow blankie.
it's just a moment where like a tune goes off and it just reminds Barney that he's a dinosaur, and then it proceeds to be a Jurassic Park horror movie of him eating children. Just horrible, horrifying movie. Oh,
Hey, look, you know, when they first announced the Barbie movie, I was like, are you kidding me? Seriously, a Barbie movie? This is going to be absolutely stupid. And they pulled it off. So my thought on this is if they could do something with Barbie and make it successful, I am hopeful and optimistic on the concept that they're going to be able to pull off doing some of these very obscure Magic 8-Ball viewfinder, you know, stuff like that maybe they're going to be able to do something on it. It's just creative writing, really.
Yeah, they open up a whole new genre for sure.
Absolutely. Oh, and I think that they, like he said, MCU it. Will Ferrell, Mattel, he's like the kingpin of all of. Somehow he gets thrown into kind of like a Stan Lee of all the different movies in some way. Somehow he gets incorporated as, oh crap, we got another Mattel product that's gone sideways, and we got to figure out how to get it under control. You know, like that evil kingpin that links to all the movies.
What about Garbage Pail Kids versus Cabbage Patch Dolls?
Ooh,
I'd be down for that. Or
that would be great.
Versus Chucky. We'll throw Chucky.
Somehow morphs into the Garbage Pail Kids. You know. You know,
talk about a movie that didn't age well. That Garbage Pail movie is rough to watch.
I just remember the cards. I thought the cards, maybe it's the Cabbage Patch Kids, and you know they're doing the production line, and you know how like when you're doing the production line for like produce, you go, yeah, this is a bad potato, this is a bad potato. Oh, they're doing that for the Cabbage Patch Kids. Oh yeah, no, this one's terrible, and those rejects become the Garbage Pail Kids.
I think there's some good concept there.
I'd be down for that, right?
That's a good underdog story, specifically.
Right, absolutely. You know, take and flip it where, you know.
Yeah, I'm Googling some of these properties too and looking into like what they actually are. And one thing I caught my eye is the Major Matt Mason toy line, which is apparently about astronauts who live and work on the moon and do science stuff on there. So that could be a cool, like almost like a if they made a good Buzz Lightyear film instead of that one terrible Pixar movie they released a couple years ago, I think that could be a good idea.
Better as like a Thunderbirds type marionette.
Something kind of like in that vein of like classic 1960s sci-fi film, and trying to reinterpret that for like maybe an animated or even live action film. I think could be really cool. I would love to see something kind of like a 60s sci-fi film, like kind of like that, but brought to a new age. I think could be really exciting. But yeah, I think that was some really good talks there about like what the potential of these Mattel properties are. Some are definitely stronger than others. I mean, I don't think anyone offered an idea of how the Uno movie could work, but we'll see how the Uno movie comes out.
Hey, if they do an Uno movie, they have to do it where the waiter comes over, gives them the fat bill, and the kid slaps down the
reversal.
The reverse card. And the waiter waited for this moment his whole life, and he throws his reverse card back down.
It's gonna be like Yu-Gi-Oh, where they have them on their sleeve, and
like it's the most important sport in the world. Everyone plays Uno.
Absolutely off. Yeah.
Or they become like throwing cards and
like Gambit
beheads people.
Yeah, Gambit, right.
It's always the dark R-rated twist.
It could be like a Highlander spin-off. There can only be.
I feel
Uno.
like there can be everything down the direction of a horror movie. Everything's got their spin.
In the credits, you just see the guy holding a hand of cards, and he just pulls up a card. On the back, it says "Dose," and he just the end question mark. Oh, so yeah, I think that's some really good stuff there. I appreciate that all very much. Okay, I think that pretty much wraps up the first major question, and I'm going to go here to the second one going on right now, which is probably going to get whiplash from a dramatic tone there. But moving on, of course, the past 2 months, WGA has been a few months in their strike. The Writers Guild of America have been in their strike. And also, since we've done our last Real Talk, the Screen Actors Guild has also gone on strike. And now basically all active film productions have canceled, with the exception of a few A24 films that got the exempt pass to continue on. But in general, kind of get a general vibe from you all. Like, do you think this strike will be successful for the WGA and SAG? And gosh, I lost my train of thought for a moment. The worst possible time there. But kind of like, do you think how successful they'll be? And gosh, there was a second part of that question I was going to ask, and it was going to be more meaningful. And boy, oh boy, lost it there at the last possible second. Jeez. Oh gosh, let's see here. I lost that here for a moment here, and I'm going to try and bring it back to my head. I'm going to reconjure the memories there and see if I get back on track there. Okay. But in general, like, do you think it's a worthwhile pursuit they're going through right now, specifically like trying to make sure they get back into the realm of getting residuals back and trying to prevent kind of AI in the filmmaking? Do you think the studios will be able to outlast them and then be able to kind of like change filmmaking? And like, how do you think this will change films going forward, whether they win or lose? Like, what do you expect to kind of see from films going forward? Because right now, AI is a big thing where they want to kind of like, make automatic artificial intelligence generation films for scripts and TV, and even like deep fakes for actors to reprise their roles indefinitely and have their likeness in perpetuity. And they're fighting against those things. But Amazon and Netflix and stuff like that are big companies that can definitely outlast them for a whole lot longer than a lot of actors and Writers Guild actors can necessarily hold out. So I think I'm going to push it over to Brett and get his kind of opinion. Like, do you think they'll succeed? And how do you think movies are going to look after the outcome, win or lose? Brett, take it from me.
Well, I think they'll actually succeed, because if people want to watch movies and that's the only way they're going to be done, then, but
yeah.
Is that all they're going after? Is just the AI? They don't want no more money or anything like that. It's just strictly because of the AI.
I think they want closer guarantees. Like right now, only 10% of actors in the Screen Actors Guild actually qualify for the minimum amount of money made by residuals to qualify for health insurance and other kind of aspects like that too. So it's a huge deal they're going through, pushing for a whole lot of money that they've been entitled to for many years. I personally, I think we kind of all hope they succeed in getting what they deserve in terms of workers' rights and those kind of things. But it's still a very big uphill struggle right now, because these companies can afford to wait them out, where Screen Actors may not be able to afford that kind of thing like that. And even Bob Iger and a few other of the CEOs were kind of like saying like that's essentially the plan, to wait till October or even into the year to say like, hey, when their houses are going to foreclosure, then they'll come to the table and they'll take the scraps we give them. as a matter of power, and that's disgusting, but still effective, unfortunately. So it's kind of interesting to see, and I'm curious, like, like if they win, I think a lot of movies have risk potential of going to Britain, because a lot of films get made cheaper there, and we could see a bigger reliance on computer animated movies, similar to, like, superhero stuff we have going on now, and those big giant AI, a lot of post computer generated effects, basically, over actual, like, smaller class movies like A24 makes, and those, like, smaller scale horror movies or drama in general. Not no more romantic comedies, just big screen superhero flicks and other dumb stuff like that. The next He-Man, which can be good in its own right, but still not entertaining to everyone.
Well, don't all these actors have to give their permission and to have their AI likeness used? Or I know Bruce Willis just sold the rights to his likeness and voice. So
the thing that is developing about that, what I find pretty interesting, hopefully I'll be able to get everyone else too on this as well. I don't mean to just make it one show here, one man show. But they were asking a lot of the extras, the background characters, to essentially sell their likeness for a one-time fee in perpetuity. Really. So it could be a case that, like, a lot of the actors that exist today, like Matthew McConaughey, Leonardo DiCaprio, they're completely immune from this because they're never going to sell their likeness, immediately for without some ungodly amount of money that would last their entire career to cover them. But for those initial actors who can't afford to say no, like, let's say, like Leonardo DiCaprio, before he was in Titanic, sold his rights for $1,000 before he did that. Then that studio would own the rights to his likeness in perpetuity, and they would have basically the rights to use, 17-year-old Leonardo DiCaprio for all their movies going forward. And they could afford to play someone else to do his puppet master work, so he's not a star anymore. And essentially, like, all actors will be, computer generated actors based off some guy's likeness who died 30 years ago or something like that. The Rebel Without a Cause actor, if I remember his name.
James Dean.
James Dean, thank you.
James Dean.
I feel bad for getting names like that when he's such an iconic actor. But the idea, like, every actor could be the digital James Dean, or not Christopher Lee, but Grand Moff Tarkin in Star Wars, and, like, that would be all movies going forward, is a big concern for SAG and the WGA to a degree, because they're kind of united on this front now. So I'm curious to see what that.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that goes into that,
Yeah, it's a complicated issue for sure. Yeah.
For all we know, maybe actors might decide that they have or create a will where they say, if for some reason I have, my life kit's cut short, or I get a debilitating disease that prevents me from being able to act, that I will give permission to sell my likeness to, wherever.
I think that's basically what Bruce Willis did.
Right. And it's perfect. And another example would be Michael J. Fox as well. And Selma Blair, these individuals who have just developed incapacitating diseases that and mental abilities that are preventing them from being able to further on their career with the movie business.
Like if Christopher Reeve had access to this option necessarily to have his speaking
exactly right,
like, would he choose to say yes? And, like, is that and is that worthwhile for those actors? And, like, but is it okay for studios to demand that of them? As like, oh, hey, like, if we don't want to pay you residuals anymore, we'll just pay for your likeness one time, then use you for the rest of your life. I need the rest of time to be Superman forever. And also that denies the opportunity for any future actors too to take those roles to a degree too, because, like, if we own Christopher Reeves, back from the 70s in perpetuity, we'd still be using him today for the most part. But because we have to go out, because Warner Bros. Has to go out and get the rights every single time, that's the reason we actually recast new actors and give them new opportunities to do new likenesses. So it's a double-edged sword, I think, going forward.
Or they can lease out the likeness, like his estate could say, hey, yeah, Christopher Reeve's estate could say, yeah, hey, we'll lease his likeness for this kind of amount, his son's still alive, so.
Yeah, I'm really curious to see that. Yeah. Do you think, Jeremiah, do you think they'll succeed and hopefully in their strike and hopefully kind of?
I hope they do. I hope they do, and here's why. Because personally, I've been with a large telecommunications company for 16 years. I am a union worker, and I have many times seen and been put in the position where the mindset that's being played out right now, where they wait out the workers to the point where they cannot financially be able to continue forward and have to take what's being offered, is a very evil concept, and it is a very unfair concept. And I don't know the exact specifics with what's been going on with the Writers Guild as far as what has been agreed upon with these low-level actors and writers. But I have a feeling that what agreements they have had is pre-streaming. So a lot of these residuals that these guys are seeing there's loopholes with the whole streaming concept, that they're not getting what they should be getting as a result of streaming becoming so big and so popular. That I feel that these guys have had enough of the fact that these loopholes are being exploited by these companies. And I really hope that these A-lister actors who do have deep pockets are willing to help fund and keep afloat these low-level actors who will not go into foreclosure if they get the assistance that they need, and that they all come together with the camaraderie needed to fight back against these guys and have these multi-billionaire CEOs realize that we cannot be bullied, and we actually can stand our ground. And I think what really helps a lot with these guys is the fact that they have so much media attention, because people like me, we didn't get that media attention for when we needed to go on strike. We did not get the coverage that these guys are getting, and that they are getting such worldwide coverage is going to be very helpful to help them gain the ground that they need to be able to be successful. And Bob Iger saying what he said is not going to make anyone like you or me and everyone else who is watching this want to really side with these companies. And we're going to more side with, the writers and these low-level actors.
Awesome, Jeremiah. I think that was very well put. And of course, I can't be neutral on this. We're definitely, it's very, I think it's actually easy and very promising to say, like, of course, we're on the side of the workers on this scenario. For the most of us, if we disagree, we disagree. We can go down the list forward. But I believe that, collective action really kind of raises all boats for all workers, and seeing SAG and WGA succeed, seeing the Teamsters succeed as they most recently did in their contract negotiations, only improves unions and labor actions for all workers, not just themselves. So I think that's very good for them as well. So I hope they succeed as well. But we'll keep them going forward here. Carl, what do you kind of think of their chance of success is, and how do you think that will probably change films going forward? What kind of new films you might kind of see because of the result of this strike?
Well, I don't think the A-list actors are going to support anybody, in my opinion, the majority of them, just because Hollywood in general is pretty greedy. Not just the studios, but a lot of these A-list actors are as well, because a lot of them are the producers and put a lot of the money up. So I don't know that they're going to help the lower grade actors. I don't see that happening. It would be nice, but that's not how things go.
Hopeful.
I think my concern is more with the AI as far as writing the scripts and stuff. I think I see the writers issue a little bit more than the actors. Now, I do understand the streaming. They need to get that straight so people are getting paid. But I do think the writers have a very big concern with AI, like writing an entire movie up, and then we no longer have screenwriters. It's all done with the AI.
Yeah.
And I know
just hiring a writer to edit AI generated work instead of writing their own work.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's terrible.
I could see that as being an issue going forward. So I hope the writers can get somewhere with this. I know we've talked in past episodes about the whole, bringing Christopher Lee or Peter Cushing back to life. And I do think in the future that the individual people should have the right to say yes or no, or their families, their estates at least. So, I think we said before that was kind of cool seeing Tarkin come back, and his estate was on board with that. So, you start bringing people back from the dead that have, I don't know that I care for that if they don't agree to it or their family doesn't agree to it. So that's sort of my take on the whole thing. I wish the A-list actors would do more, but in the end, I don't think most of them will. I think a lot of them are like politicians, honestly. They're going to say the right thing and do the complete opposite.
Yeah. Like, say the gratuities of like always supporting workers, but in the back doors just being self-serving as usual. I
Yes,
completely
I'm
understand that
afraid
kind of.
so.
It's
Not
a
all
little
of them.
pessimistic, but I also completely understand where you're coming from.
Yeah, not all of them, but I think a majority of the A-listers probably maybe so.
Staying mum the word, trying to be sweet in this situation when like they have a very clear side to be on. I didn't think about that aspect of it, and I believe.
Yeah, that's my thought on it.
Okay, well,
But I'm
Carl,
definitely hoping those writers get, that AI stuff is bothersome to me.
I totally agree with you, and I see what you mean there. Well, Carl, thank you very much for that take. Tanya, moving on to you. What do you think overall about it?
Um, I mean, I agree with Jeremiah a lot. I'm a server. I've been a server for 26 years. I don't have health insurance. I haven't had it. Nobody's there to fight for us to get it. We still make $2.13 an hour 26 years later. So like I I would really, really like to see people standing up for the lower level that put in all the work, but don't get millions of dollars, don't get their names out there. Nobody knows, some of these indie film stars. Um, so, but at the same time, the whole or the AI thing, um, I there's something like lost in the for me the personal aspect.
The meaning is lost behind it. Like they know the structure of the sentence, but the meaning behind it is completely arbitrary to a computer. I get what you mean there. Yeah.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
hmm
Human touch.
I don't, you know, I I don't know. It's a
It's icky.
it's a weird topic. It's a weird question to be posed. Would I watch somebody knowing that it's not them, but the face is the same?
hmm Yeah, yeah.
You know
Or
what I
like
mean?
someone, yeah, or that someone's basically like, they film a real actor, but he's essentially doing a puppet of a puppet of another actor's face as a role, and we never know who the puppet
Yeah.
really is in that case.
Yeah,
It just
yeah.
feels, to an extent, grotesque, and to me personally, even in the case of like the Grand Moff Tarkin actor Peter Cushing, pretty sure Cushing, yeah. It's like I feel like you're also denying that opportunity for another actor to take on that role and that kind of experience. And that feels, like, although I understand the promise of nostalgia is always kind of rewarding to viewers and fans, but at the same time, denying those opportunities for future people to take over and express themselves in a unique way is um, tragic, in my opinion. So I get what you mean there. Yeah. So yeah, and I agree with you entirely. I think especially for servers, they have been so unrepresented in labor movements, and that is tragic in itself, especially in terms of minimum wage and being denied that because their servers and rely on tips, and how COVID hit service industry probably harder than any other industry going forward, and they're afraid to raise prices for those kind of reasons where it's incredibly unfortunate. And I think the labor movement needs to this kind of overall labor movement needs to address that in a big way that actually brings it forward and helps it be a sustainable market that rewards workers for their labor. Not to be communist or capitalist about it, but just like in the best way possible to make sure the people that work hard, get what they deserve is what's most important at the end of the day. So I sympathize with your plight because it's a lot. Yeah, but thank you so much for that opinion there. I really appreciate it. Moving on here, let's go to Jimbo. Jimbo, let's get your overall thoughts on the matter.
All right, I've got a lot of different thoughts, so hang tight.
Okay.
First of all, does anybody know for the Screen Actors Guild, is every actor a part of that, or is it something they have to join, pay dues, and all that?
It's more of a matter of like if you're on a film, you kind of have to join. As a matter of fact, so it does have, I believe, over 300,000 members technically. So technically, like, the CEO of Activision is a SAG member because he appeared on that one Greenland movie or whatever it was called, the Money movie.
You got to remember, back in the 30s, 40s, 50s, probably even part of the 60s, actors were on contracts to studios. It wasn't I can go work where I want when I want. They would have to make trades, say, hey, you can borrow Judy Garland, but you got to let us borrow Cary Grant for 4 movies or whatever.
Yeah.
There were shady deals going on back then, and some of the ways they even in The Wizard of Oz, which that was our first episode we ever did. Judy Garland was only getting, I think, what was it, $200 a week, and Toto was getting $100. I mean, the dog was almost getting the paid same amount as Judy Garland, the star of the show. So the discrepancy has been there for a long time. The last time the writers were part of the strike, I will never forget it, because one of the greatest TV shows of all time, Lost, had me by the grips for seasons 1 through 3, I believe. And then by the time season 4 came around, they had that strike, and it kind of lost its flair for me. And it started getting really weird. And I don't know if that's because they were in a rush to get so many more scripts out that they kind of got lost themselves and kind of lost what they were doing. So they need to take that for, like, especially like the shows out now that are like, let's say we'll just take like From, that's on Amazon Prime or whatever. You know, it's in season 3 or getting ready for season 3. How is that going to affect your audience going forward? Any other shows that are like season 3, season 4, right there is the tipping point where it's either going to go really good for you, or it can go the way of Lost, where it just starts going really bad.
It's a good admit, like, it's also the fact, like, the new Lord of the Rings season 2 show is actually proceeding forward with their filming. Sorry, I don't know the state of their production right now, but I know they were proceeding forward when just the WGA was on strike. I don't know if they're proceeding now that SAG is on strike too, but I know they were pushing forward with WGA, and that, like, once again, like, mimicking the 2008 strikes did irreparable harm to the loss of the series, and it could do irreparable harm to a lot of shows now. And now both strikes going on too. One thing we have to look for right now is, like, whether this strike lasts 6 months or 18 months or even, 2 to 3 years even, there's going to be a lot of costs kind of immediately of, like, films are going to get delayed. Films are already being delayed, like Beyond the Spider-Verse part 3 or whatever, that's being delayed indefinitely. A bunch of other superhero movies are being delayed, like 2 or 3 months.
Ryan Reynolds, and they stopped Deadpool 3 production. They walked off.
They halted that as well.
Yeah.
The AI in movies. Do you remember, Carl? I'll talk to you. Do you remember how you felt in the Mandalorian season 2 ending when you seen that X-Wing pull up and you seen Luke Skywalker come out of there and come down that hallway?
Definitely.
I flipped out.
If that would have been another actor, it would not have had as much meaning to us as our generation.
Amazing.
Right.
If this AI stuff can give me more Luke Skywalker, more Indiana Jones, more Star Wars, I'm all for it.
I agree. And if the actor agrees, I like it too.
As the estate,
as long as the estate and the actor agrees, we're on board 100%.
They are planning to do a whole James Dean movie where James Dean, his likeness is in the whole movie. The whole character is nothing but artificial intelligence.
I'm a little curious if that movie ever will be made, though, because we were talking about.
I don't know, but I mean that's the talk about it. And if there was a movie, I think it was called Simone, and I believe it was Al Pacino. And he had made up this woman where she was nothing but somebody on a screen. She wasn't real. And he was worried about how is she going to accept this award, because she was really popular and she was going to have to go accept this award in front of a live audience. And everybody's like, aha, we're going to get him now. I won't spoil it for you. It's a good movie. You need to check it out.
Great movie.
If that new Indiana Jones movie, I'll try not to do a spoiler here. But the beginning of that movie took me back to when I was a kid.
Me too. 100%.
Seeing Indiana Jones,
absolutely,
like that, it made it all worthwhile for me. And if I can get more of that, I will be happy. Now,
we know Harrison Ford was on board with that too, so that makes it,
absolutely.
As many Indiana Jones movies as you want, I'm all for it. Same way with the new Flash movie. The cameos in that, I don't know what they had to do to get all those rights and all that, or if they just took them because they were the property of DC. But for those of you that haven't heard this, plug your ears or fast forward a few seconds. But when you, sorry, Jeremiah.
I haven't seen it yet. I've heard there's cameos.
When you see Christopher Reeve step out, when you see the original Supergirl step out, when you see Adam West, when you hear the Joker's voice, when you see George Reeves Superman, that just does something to you, because those are people that are gone, but the memories that live in your mind will be forever. And if I can get more of those in my life while I'm alive, I'm all for it. Now, when I die and Kyle dies, if they want me sign something where they can keep the tragedy of cinema going with AI forever, let's do it, because I wouldn't mind it. But for me, I don't have a problem with the AI. The writers, I do have a problem with, because you can do that Chat GPT and get anything you want. If I had Chat GPT in high school, I would have been valedictorian. Let's face it. If we had that access, all of us would have been, even Brett would have graduated.
Yeah.
Right, Brett. You would have.
But I'm just saying, if that AI can give me more of what I like in movies, if you can bring back Cary Grant, if you can bring back Rhett Butler and all that, from Gone with the Wind, Audrey Hepburn, Elvis Presley.
It just keeps their legacy going, and it immortalizes them, and
Michael Jackson. If you look at all the holograms they've used in music videos now. I know Brett and Carl talked about Ronnie James Dio or whatever in one of their episodes about where his wife was going to use the hologram, or they didn't use the hologram in that movie or whatever. But you see that where I just saw the TikTok video or whatever where the guy sits down on this couch and his hologram hands him something. I can't remember who it was. The stuff they could do, movie magic. Let me still be a kid. Let me have this stuff. I would love it. But I've rambled on long enough. I want to get other people's opinions, but those are just my personal feelings about it. So,
all right, Jimbo, I value your opinion on that too. I don't know if I might have some pushback a little bit later, but I understand your opinion there, and I want to I have you got a chance to air it out. So thank you very much. And moving forward, let's go on to Patrick, and let's get Patrick's thoughts on the strike and movie rights going forward. So, Patrick, what do you think?
I think Bob Iger is a moron.
Agreed.
He comes out and he's crying poor. You've got all these little actors making less than $26,000 a year, and here's a guy that made $175 million last year.
Sounds familiar, don't it, Patrick? From our workforce, and Kyle used to work there too. So,
I think Bob Iger makes $90,000 an hour.
Do I think the strike is going to succeed? Absolutely. And Jimbo brought up the last strike that they had. The Screen Actors had. It messed up television for years. Now you've got studio heads and you've got network execs that are like, okay, we can do this now, but it's going to bite us, and they all know it. Okay. So do I think that these writers and these actors are going to get paid? Absolutely. They know it. They know they have to, because right now you're not making anything. There's no television in production. There's very few movies in production. Well, what happens when you're not making anything? You've got nothing to bring to the people. You're not going to be making money down the road.
Especially for shareholders too. Shareholders in your company that you've promised, we're going to hit this X amount of dollar, for your stock or whatever.
And all the streaming services too.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, because they make their own content. So they're going to have to get in line with everybody else, and they got to figure it out. But when people aren't working, your subscriptions are going to go down because you don't have new content.
Exactly right.
Yeah. People aren't going to movies because, look, there's no movies in production right now. So you're going to hit a lull where you're going to have nothing coming to the screen. You're not going to have new television out. You're not going to have, people are going to find other things to do, and they will move on.
Another form of entertainment.
Yeah.
I mean, as it pertains to AI, it's just another tool.
Yeah.
It's an upgrade of CGI. Okay. I thought The Flash, I thought Indiana Jones, I thought, what they did with Star Wars. I thought, they did that thing with Rogue One with Tarkin. You knew there were going to be, with Leia too. I mean, you knew there were going to be issues down the road. Yeah. You did something that you've never done before. Yippee. Okay. Now it's a problem. They created this Frankenstein. Okay. I thought The Flash was fantastic. I thought the new Indiana Jones was damn near perfect. Okay. But it's just a tool. I mean, you can't rely on it. You actually need the bodies in there to do the work.
Mm-hmm.
So scripts written by I don't think long term, I don't think that's an answer. I mean, not that writers' rooms have done anything spectacular in the last 30 years anyway, but okay. But you need the people in the room, and the only way you're going to get people in the room is you got to pay them. And bottom line, it's all about money, and these networks and these studios, they're going to have to pay up, and they know it.
No, I understand.
And putting a guy like Bob Iger out there saying, he's crying poor while not paying people. People hear that. People, public people, who are in unions or, who know this kind of, rhetoric from these guys. They know they're full of garbage. So it doesn't help him every time he opens his mouth.
Yeah.
So eventually, over long run, I think the strikes are going to be successful.
Good. Okay. Well, thank you, Patrick. I really appreciate that. And I see a lot of your point there too. And I agree with you. Like, there's a lot of tool sets that also kind of like fall under the purview of like AI that are incredibly useful, and no one debates whether or not they should be used. And ideally, this too is a tool set that can't replace workers, but it can be a way of, expediting ideas or iterations that can be used in future productions that could, purposely actually, make things overall a better product or a smoother sailing production, hopefully. And if they, you want to keep those aspects while simultaneously not like trying to, minimize the workers' contribution in that case. So
I think as long as the workers get some kind of a credit in the movie, though, I think you're okay.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's delicate. I think there's still a whole lot of things to be worked out because it is still new still, and I think it's really it's once again not with eyes towards the future when Bob Iger and other studios are treating it like a solve all button for what they use for production going forward. I think that's really it's not smart. It's just really dumb to think like AI will solve all their problems going forward, and that seems to be the way they're trying to cheat it. They're trying to treat it as, and simply in these negotiation times. So I see what you're putting down there. And
maximum profits for minimal effort.
Yeah.
No, seriously, that's their frame of mind. So
yeah. And in general, like just all workers are treated as soft assets to always be like driven down and haggled down on their price to pay to get them perform. The cost of steel always goes by demand and stuff like that too. But a worker can always haggle with a worker to make them work for less, and that's the thing that these studios are really trying to push right now, and hopefully we finally push back in a meaningful way. But that's a really good opinion there, Patrick. I really appreciate hearing from you there. And I think we're ready to move on here. So, Tiffany-Kins, what are your thoughts? Do you think of the studios, the SAG's possible success during this strike, and what do you think we'll see from films going forward, win or lose from them? Yeah.
I'm going to be completely honest. I am not as well versed in all this and how it works as you guys are, but I honestly just hope that the people that are being cheated get what they're due. I know that's a very generic way of saying it, but it's the simplest way that my little brain can put it together.
Don't put yourself down. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
As far as the AI goes, kind of like going off what James and the rest of you guys were saying, in examples of, I did not see the new Flash, but how he was saying it was used in the Flash. I think if they're going to use it, that's how they should use it. I don't think that they should use it as a full beginning to end movie, because you're cheating people out of work. Yeah. And if they use it sporadically and they use it well, but don't make the entire movie about that, they use it as that pop of nostalgia or whatever they want to call it, then I think that would be fantastic. But if they're going to try to plan on full movies like that, that's not cool.
I agree.
Cool. Well, Brent, thank you. Very good. Yeah. You got us on the heart of the issue there. Like, you hope workers get what they're due, and I appreciate that at a
Yeah.
very basic level. We don't have to dive in all the details. Like, this is like, forward to positivity. Like, we want workers to get what they're owed
Yeah.
at the end of the day.
I was like some of those pictures that are coming up on Facebook and things like that of these people posting their checks that have worked on shows for years and years and years, and they're posting $0.00 checks that they've gotten on like shows that are, and I know there's always exceptions. I can see Kyle's clock turning. I know there's always exceptions, but at the same time, like, that's BS. I don't think that that's right. And I hope that they come up to something that will alleviate that and prevent that in the future.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of them didn't get any. They didn't know that syndication was going to be a thing where it was going to be shown for 30 years either. So,
well, like I said, there's always exceptions, but that's still crazy. I mean, that's just ridiculous, especially some of the, I don't remember names offhand, but like just some of the ones that I've seen is just kind of sad that they did that for years and years. And literally, like, now when they're older, when they're not getting as much work and they kind of need that little bit of extra something, it's not there, whether it was for their choice or not. I don't know how else to explain it.
There was one specific example that kind of struck me, like, and he's not struggling to meaningful degree, I know, but I remember the Sean Gunn, James Gunn's younger brother, he was on the Gilmore Girls show for more than over 140 episodes.
Yeah.
He says that, of course, originally starting that show, his residuals are based on TV syndication and got paid well for that. But since going to Netflix, he got basically only a few $1,000s for the entirety it's been on Netflix.
And that's that loophole that I was telling you about when it came to streaming services. They found loopholes in the contracts for doing residuals because streaming wasn't a concept when these shows were being filmed and were being created. And so that's why I support that they try to close these loopholes.
Yeah, because I think the revelation is you can't actually run Hollywood off Netflix charging $10 a month for every movie in the world. That's just not a value proposition that is sustainable. So I think we'll see in the future there other streaming services will have to adjust their pricing accordingly, and also think about residuals going forward in a more substantial way. And hopefully they'll hopefully they'll work that out. Yeah.
That whole streaming issue goes into the music industry as well. I know a lot of musicians.
Spotify, absolutely. Yeah. With Spotify.
All artistic mediums too, even like basic art and video games too. Like video games, of course, very much don't have unions basically at all, and don't see anything in the way of really residuals and that kind of matter too. Which is hopefully a movement that I hope they'll see in the future in the game design stuff like that too, as it becomes an increasingly important part of all entertainment industry. So yeah, it's a lot of complex issues to think about and worth addressing. Absolutely, because it's important matters. But yeah, Tiffany, I really appreciate that opinion there, and we can move on forward to, last but not least, we got Christine. Christine, what do you think about the odds of SAGs and WGA strike success, and what do you think movies will be looking at, win or lose?
Oh boy. Well,
big question.
I really support their strike, and I think they'll be successful because if they don't work, everything kind of grinds to a halt. So I think if they're able to stick it out, the studios are going to have to work with them. I mean, really, they have to. And I think the biggest thing for them is getting in their contracts is what they want out of AI. I think that's really the key is their demands for AI. Really, I think is key is they have to be in control of their own destiny as far as AI is concerned, and how they want it used for their future. And as far as movies using AI for actors that have already passed, I think it should be up to the estates of those actors.
Yeah.
Pretty simplistic.
Yeah, no, I totally get what you're saying there. And once again, it's just, at the very basic level, they need to sort out what kind of AI is. And I'm very skeptical, even like worst case scenario, SAG, has to relent and DVG have to resent and basically give the studios everything they want. I think like if studios really tried to do AI filmmaking, I think they would just fall flat on their face quality wise. I think it would be a
I don't think you can do a whole movie based on AI. You have to have actors do some of the stuff.
Yeah,
and you have to have actors'
movie
input.
that almost makes sense moment to moment and just never quite gets there in a way that feels real. And I don't think there's any level of like AI or people say AI, even though it's really just a language predicting model. All it really is, which is still different. And it's like you're not actually going to get there to the real part of the meat of a story and the real kind of symbology like that. Treating it as like a canned product you can just put on an assembly line is just not going to work. It didn't work back in the 20s. And, like Jimbo said, like the original contracts with actors that way, it's just not going to work forward. Yeah. I think, So I really value that. I guess like my kind of final thoughts on that. Yeah. Thoughts more basically your farts is I think
farts.
I think SAG and WGA, I think are going to have I think they're going to have a real strong success, but maybe only on paper in many ways. Because I think it kind of, I got to more about the Teamsters right now, but I think they probably get a really good contract. But I also wouldn't be surprised if these studios start moving more of their jobs overseas, specifically and try and abuse the kind of the labor markets in there because they don't have the same kind of union rights, or New Zealand, like that too, where the unions just aren't there in the first place, where they have much more specific worker rights that are a lot easier to abuse back there. I've even reports of studios executives calling Great Britain the white Mexico, which is problematic on a huge number of levels in terms of abusing workers and racism.
Racist much.
Yeah, it's just incredibly poorly worded there. But the idea that they could actually probably shrink Hollywood overall and only have a few people get better better working rights in there. Like if you're part of the union, you got it good, but everyone else is kind of out. Unfortunately, I could see that being the case. And if they do succeed well, though, I think we might see a lot of films that stop relying on CG as much. I wouldn't be surprised if maybe the superhero genre that's become so ever popular right now might take a bit of a more of a backseat in the whole industry, and we might see more films coming back from a more wider range of genres, hopefully going forward. And I think that could actually be really healthy for a lot of storytellers overall, because you get more like noir comedy stories, or like different stories in general that kind of go different places that aren't just exclusive to like limited Netflix deals, or like prestige directors doing the one thing they like, and then that's kind of all they get for opportunity wise. So that could widen things up in a way that I could really appreciate, but it could also go bad in a way that we'll see how it goes. But I'm very curious to see it. I'm still skeptical, but I'm curious to see how it go. And I bet I think optimistically, like this strike will probably be over by the end of the year at the most optimistic kind of rate. But I could easily see it going on for another 12, 18 months, even 2 years before they finally nail it down in a way. And that could be huge impact on the opportunity, on the entertainment we enjoy today. Shows getting their seasons canceled, or entire shows get canceled altogether. Movie projects get dropped altogether. I could see that being the case. So got to prepare for that on an entertainment level, from a selfish entertainment level. It's like we might
start reading actual books.
Yeah, we got to get to books.
It also brings up an interesting concept too, because a lot of video games nowadays are also got some of these actors who are doing, the kind of like what Andy Serkis was doing, where they do the dots and exactly. So it makes you wonder if any of that has any tie into what's currently going on, and if not, why not during the time, because it's not really considered scabbing or crossing the picket line, moving over into some of that content and doing that while this is getting sorted out.
Yeah, and it's interesting too, because like at the same time though, it's just like like is it considered scab work? Let's say you're working for an Amazon TV show, and like to support your union, you're not working for the Amazon TV show, but then you go right along and then you work for the Amazon video game they're making next door. You're still working for the same company, still making the money, and that can still be considered scab work in a way too. So it's like
it's interesting, right? It does bring in an interesting concept and a question on that regard.
So on those kind of like specifics, I guess you just have to go by the union guidelines in that kind of scenario too. Even covering these on a podcast here, there's guidelines they put out even for us, and there's a cosplay and also podcasts that like I'm interested to more read about how we can more ethically cover movies and stuff like that, and the news we're covering right now in that case because it wouldn't be them obviously. But it's
here's one little quick thing that I heard that Dwayne Johnson and John Cena might be going back to the WWE since there's a strike.
Wow.
Hey!
I thought that was sort of funny.
But isn't that crazy that the writers for WWE isn't part of the Screen Actors Guild?
Oh yeah. Vince McMahon would never allow a union.
I know.
Yeah. He's a huge anti-union guy and hate him for it, but that's just the way it is. But those were I really only had those two, major kind of question points, and I love you guys' answers on all of them. It really it built up a lot more time than I thought we'd be able to cover.
Hey, Kyle,
I really appreciate that.
Kyle, I would just like to be the first to say I think you did an excellent job tonight as the moderator. I think you really took a step forward. You put your big boy pants on, even with the preparation you had. With your power going out and everything. I just want to say thank you for your questions, very thought-provoking.
They were tough.
Yeah.
So, they weren't as
actually
very good questions.
You did very good, Kyle. Me and Jimbo were texting. I'm like, he's doing such a great job. I'm so proud of you. You did great. Yeah.
So Carl's got big shoes to fill next time.
I know. I don't know if I can pull it off.
I greatly appreciate your compliments.
Hey, don't worry. And then we'll go to Brett and everything will all be forgotten.
That'll be one big cluster.
Poor Bubba.
Well, I know it's starting to get late. We've been on here a while. How long has it been, Brett?
Oh,
like an hour.
A little over an hour.
Hour and a half, right. Maybe.
So,
yeah. It's 11:24 here.
It's almost
I guess Jimbo, I'd love to pass the reins to you and see if we can get this closed out on your end.
Oh yeah. Like I said, we are the Tragedy of Cinema, me and Kyle. Jeremiah, I'd like to say thank you for coming on tonight, and Tanya. You guys are first timers, but it was awesome to hear you guys your points, and hopefully you'll join us in the future when we have these. We do it at least once a month. The first couple of Real Talks we did, the reason we started doing it like this is because Brett joined us for the Planet of the Apes. I think this is like our fifth one we've did, or third or fourth one, something like that, fourth, I think, as a collab. So you need to go back and listen to those. You can skip to those, because I had some really tough questions. We had a final, like a March Madness bracket for what was
theme songs. Was it theme songs?
We did theme songs, but before that, TV
World's
show.
Nicest Person.
The world's nicest person.
That was fun.
The world's nicest person, and
didn't Mr. Rogers win?
Mr. Rogers won that. But that was fun. So I think we're gonna close this out. So Brett, if you want to go around, if everybody wants to go around in the order, and Kyle, I'll just go at the end and close it out. So everybody just go around and introduce yourself, tell us where you're from, and if you got a podcast, you got anything you're promoting, any small businesses, anything like that. So go ahead, Brett.
I'm Brett with the Evil Never Dies podcast and Count Karabi's Yard Haunt, Fort Worth, Texas. Who's next?
Jeremiah.
Jeremiah, I'm in California, Northern California. Loved do movies my whole life. I play a variety of video games. I watch a variety of movies, listen to a variety of music. Really down to earth, and I just like meeting new people, and I'm very social.
You made a great introduction, Jeremiah. You have. Carl.
All right. Carl Todd, and actually carltodd.com is updated, and we'll give you links to the Evil Never Dies podcast and our YouTube show, as well as the Count Karabi Museum Haunted House.
Yeah.
So check it out.
Yeah. Skip over Jimbo. Let's go to Patrick.
I'm Patrick from Cleveland, Ohio, and I just watch a lot of movies.
He says it every time. I just watch a lot of movies.
Tiffany.
I am Tiffany from Western PA, and I am just perpetually tired anymore. So that's kind of what's going on.
Christine.
I'm Christy from the Central Coast in California, and I'm just a big fan of Carl and Bubba's podcast, and James and Kyle's podcast, and everybody on the show.
We love having you on these real talks.
And that's David
thank
Martin.
you. Thank you.
Next one's David Martin. He can't really say anything, but he's one of my best friends for a long time. So I met him at my very first job back at Burger King, way back when I was like a junior in high school. So that's how long we've been friends. So thanks for coming, Dave. Maybe next time you can bring your face on here.
Yeah, and we also appreciated Tanya, who's on here, but unfortunately, I guess we'll drop out there.
Yeah, she lost. She texted me and said her phone shut off. So,
well, if you can send her a text, we really
Yeah.
appreciated having her on. And I really appreciated her answers there too. So she was a great addition to there as well. Hope to have her on again sometime. But with that, I think we're ready to give it to a wrap and a close. So I'm going to pass it off to Jimbo.
All right. Well, like I close every podcast that we do, I think this episode's coming to a close, and that's a wrap.
And cut.